Hi, I'm Travis Monson with Once Upon a Board Game. Today I want to teach you how to play Trails of Tucana. Now this is another one of the games that I would lump in the genre of roll and write games. As you'll see in a moment, this doesn't include dice, it includes cards, so maybe technically it's a flip and write, but like I've said in the past, I typically just call this whole genre roll and write games. It's easier to say. But this is one that we love, and this is still probably one of my wife's favorite games. This is one that we've introduced to lots and lots of different people, and they've all loved it, and most of the people have wanted to go out and get a copy themselves. It says on the box that it plays from 1 to 8 players in about 15 minutes. It says ages 8 and up. Again, you could even play with younger kids very easily. It's a super simple game, and it's really quick. I mentioned it right up front, and I'll mention it again at the end. It says 1 to 8 players, but I really don't see the need to limit yourself. You really easily could play this with more. Maybe I'll talk about that at the end. But again, this is by a design duo that's designed a lot of great games, including some of my all-time favorites. It's something special. We really enjoy it. Let me show you how it plays. As I said, I'm going to be teaching the Trails of Tucana. This is one of our favorites in this roll and write genre. Although, as you can see, there's no dice. It's technically maybe a flip and write. We're flipping cards instead of rolling dice, but you get the gist. Of course, here's what you get in the game. So, of course, it comes with a rule book. There's a whole big deck of, not deck, but a whole pad of additional map boards. As you can see, I've got some map boards laid out for the players. There's a deck of terrain cards. There's a deck of cards that help you get a randomized setup. And there's some bonus cards, some red and blue bonus cards. Okay, so the way that you set up is you give every player their own map board. Okay, it is two-sided. There's the Isla Petite and the Isla Grande. The Isla Petite is the shorter version of the game. I'll talk more about the Isla Grande at the end. You give each player their own map and something to write with. Of course, it just comes with regular paper, so normally we just use pen or pencil. I've got mine laminated, as you can see. I like to use the dry erase markers. So the way that you're going to set up is, of course, shuffle the terrain cards, give everybody their own map and something to write with, and then you're going to lay out some bonus cards. Now, the bonus cards that you use are contingent upon player count. It says that if you play with 4 or less players, to just use 1 of each type of bonus card. If you notice, these blue bonus cards have letters A through E. Okay, and there's also, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, there's cards that say a number 1 and a number 2. So basically, all these bonus cards it's a race. To be the first person to claim the bonus is going to get it, then it's going to get flipped over and it's off limits. And I'll talk more about how those work later on. But in a larger game with more players, there's basically the person who gets it first and the person who gets it second. So you would use 2 bonus cards if you're playing with 5 or more players. Whereas with a smaller player count, you would just use 1 bonus card. Similarly, instead of having letters with these blue bonus cards, these red bonus cards have symbols that we'll talk about in just a moment, symbols that are on the map. And again, with 5 or more players, you would randomly just pick out and choose 2 of these cards, to include in play. But if you're playing with 4 or less, you would just use 1 of these cards. So for instance, if we were going to play with 5 players, you got 5 maps here, we would use all the bonus cards and we would randomly choose 2 of these red cards, right? So we would do something like that. And the rest are just put them back in the box. You don't need them. Again, if we were maybe just playing with 3 players, we would have 1 of these and 1 of each of these, okay? So you determine how many bonus cards you use based on player count. And the last thing you'll do for setup is you take this deck of setup cards, you just mix it up, randomly draw 1, and this kind of gives you a randomized way to lay out the starting villages. Now, what do I mean by villages? Well, let's take a look at the map. As you can see on the island here, there are numbered circles around the perimeter, numbers 1 through 10. Okay, it just has a blank circle. Those circles represent villages. And what's going to happen is each village is going to be assigned a letter, A, B, C, D, or E. And there's going to be 2 villages that each have the same letter of each of those letters, A through E. So the way that you set it up is you first of all determine somebody who's going to be the mayor. Okay, that's what it calls it in the rules. Most games would call it a start player, but there really is no start player in this game because everybody takes turns simultaneously. The mayor is basically the person that's going to be the one flipping over the terrain cards. So beginning with the mayor takes their map, and the letter that's at the top of the randomized setup card you drew, they write that letter in their village box number 1. So this one has E as an echo. So the mayor would put the letter in box number 1. And then going around the table clockwise order, each successive player would write that first letter in the next higher number. So if the mayor starts in box 1, so maybe Allie would start with box number 2. So she'd put the echo in box 2. Then maybe Shane would put the box in, or the letter in box number 3. Then we come over here, Jace would put it in box number 4. And we'll say Brett would put it in box number 5. Right? So we all initially have a different starting location for that village E. Okay? And then going clockwise around the board, and again, if there's more than 5 players, keep going, right? But we've got this set up as a 5-player game. And then you would go around and put the rest of the letters around the map, starting from that first letter. So I would start from the 1, Allie starts from 2, and so on, right? So everybody's going to have a slightly different arrangement of what their map is going to look like with where the villages are. So for instance, I would put the E, so the Echo, and then Charlie, Alpha, Echo, Bravo, Delta, Alpha, Bravo, Delta, Charlie, right? So I got all 10 villages lettered, and then Allie would do the same, starting from number 2 and go clockwise and put those same letters in that same order. And then Shane and Jace and Brett would all do the same thing. So everybody's going to set up their card with the same sequence, but just in a slightly different arrangement, okay? So once everybody has set up their map, you can go ahead and take the setup card and just put it back in the box. You don't need that anymore. Make sure you have the proper number of bonus cards, depending on how many people are playing. Make sure that the deck of terrain cards is shuffled, and you're ready to go. Okay, I really only took extra maps to illustrate how many bonus cards we would use and how the setups would go with the letters. But in terms of explaining the game, I'm just going to set all this extra stuff aside, and I'm going to just focus in on one map to talk about how it works. Okay, now that I've talked about how you set up the island with everybody's slightly different arrangement of letters around the perimeter, now we're ready to play. So how do we play? What are we trying to do, and how do we score, right? Well, I mentioned up front that there's this deck of terrain cards. If you look closely at the top of each person's player board, maybe I'll get it a little closer to the camera, is a quantity and breakdown of the types of cards in the deck. So there's 8 desert cards, there's 7 forest, 6 mountain, 4 water, and 2 wilds. Okay, so that's what's in the deck. So how does a turn work? Well, each turn, the mayor will flip over 2 cards and loudly announce for everybody at the table what those 2 terrains are. So in this case, they'd say desert to forest. So everybody will simultaneously write a path on their map board to connect 2 adjacent terrain types, that match what was drawn on the cards. So you just imagine that there's like a little dot in the middle of each hexagon, and you just draw a line to connect those two hexagons. So maybe, for instance, I can connect this desert hex with this forest hex adjacent to it. So desert to forest, I just draw a line like that, right? My turn could be as simple as that, right? And once everybody has done that, then you're ready to go to the next one. And we say, in this case, maybe, for instance, water to wild. And if you remember, waters are the most rare. So maybe I want to double down and get a free water out of this wild. So maybe I want to do a water to water, maybe something like this, maybe here to here, right? You'll notice those aren't connected. You don't have to have your paths connected. Every single path that you write can be wherever you want it, right? They don't have to be connected, but I'm going to explain here why you might want them to be connected eventually, okay? Because what are we trying to do? This is how each turn is going to work. You're going to flip over 2 more cards, and you're going to draw a little path, just like I did with these first 2. Again, there's 27 cards, so after 13 turns, there will be 1 card left over. When there's just 1 card left over, the round is over, and then you're going to score the first round, okay? And I'll explain the scoring in 1 second here. After that, you'll shuffle up all the cards. You'll play through 1 more round, okay? So there's 2 rounds total, okay? So once you've gone through the deck a second time, game over. And then you add up your score, and the highest score wins, okay? So before I do any more cards, let me maybe set those aside for a second, and let's talk more about the map itself and how we're going to score. So the way that you score points is kind of summarized here on the right side, okay? And I'm going to talk about each one individually. So you see there's 5 different sites, okay? There's obelisks, books, toucans. The rules call these a yeti and a sea monster, right? Anyway, so you'll see that there's the 5 sites, and each of those 5 sites is represented twice on the island. What you're trying to do to score those points is to get those sites seen, right? You want to go sightseeing. And again, the letters represent the villages, okay? So to score those sites, we need to get them connected to a village. Okay, that's what I was trying to do up here with this obelisk. I was trying to get it connected to village A. Because if you ever do get it connected, if I did that, maybe I had a desert to desert on the cards, then I could draw that path. And now you see the obelisk is connected to a village. So that says that site has been seen. I'm going to score that. Okay, so I'll circle the score. I'm going to score that point. Okay, you'll notice that I have a chance to score each different feature twice. Okay, so doing something as simple as this, connecting, oh, okay, I got seen by another village. Well, that doesn't matter. This site has already been seen. In order to score the site a second time, you have to see the other instance of that site, okay? So it does not matter how many times one site is connected to a village. To score both, the other site. So both sites have to be connected to a village. Maybe this guy got connected to the village down there. Then I could score that second time, okay? So that's how that works. And I'll come back to this little symbol here in just a moment, okay? What that symbol means. So over the course of the game, maybe over the course of this first round, maybe I was able to make another connection. So I got the sea monster seen. Maybe I was able to make that toucan. I got the toucan visited. You'll notice all these sites are all connected to just one village. It doesn't matter. As long as it is seen by a village, that's all that matters, whether it's the same village or all different villages. As long as it is seen, it scores, okay? So maybe the round ended right now, and I was able to see the obelisks 2 times and these other sites once each. Okay, at the end of the round, so once you've gone through the deck of cards and there's just that 1 card remaining, then you'll add up all the points for the sites that you've seen. So in this case, I got the 1 and the 2, so that's 3 plus 2 more is 5, plus 4 more is 9, right? So you add up all the points for the sites you've seen and you write it down here in round 1, the round 1 box. So I'd say I got 9, okay? Now, like I said, you're gonna shuffle the deck, you're gonna go through the deck one more time. You do not erase your paths. You do not erase the sites that you've already seen. Everything stays. You build upon that in round 2. Okay? So at the end of round 2, maybe I made a couple more connections. Maybe I, connected to the book. So I scored the book. Maybe I connected to the Yeti. So I got the Yeti scene. Maybe I got this other Yeti up to another village. So I scored the Yeti a second time and I was able to get the sea monster. Maybe the game ended like that. Okay? Again, at the end of the game, once again, you're going to score for all the sites that you've seen after round 2. And yes, you will score the same sites you already saw, right? So you will score the sites twice. So the sooner you can see the sites, the better, because you're going to get to score them after round 1 and after round 2. Okay? So in this case, 1 and 2 is 3, and 2 is 5, 7, 10, 14, 18, 23. Okay? So if the game ended and this was what my board looked like, I just scored 23 points for sites. So again, you do score the sites both times. Okay, so again, the sooner you can see them, the better. All right, so keep that in mind. Okay, that's one way to score points. Now there's the village to village. Okay, so, and this is where these letters come in. Okay, let's say maybe I was able to make a couple more connections like that. So you see, I have my letter D village connected to my other letter D village. Okay, so that's another objective you're trying to complete, is connect village A to A, B to B, and so on. So in this case, if I have D connected to D, I can circle, hey, I connected D to D. I'm going to score those 11 points, okay? Then maybe, if I was able to maybe connect these together, now I've got A connected to A. So I'm going to score that as well, right? You see how that works, okay? At the end of the game, you will add up all your points for all of the village connections that you've made. So the 14 and the 11, so I would score 25 points, and then you write that in the little blue section. So again, the blue city-to-city connections go in the blue scoring section, right? So again, the sites you see after the round 1 score and the round 2 score, then the village-to-village connections. And then finally, the last thing you'll score is bonuses. So you see the star, the bonus section, you have a chance to record bonus points. And this is where, let me slide this down, this is where all these bonus cards come in that I talked about, all right, with the setup, okay? So you'll see that there's these blue bonus cards are the ones where you connect for seeing the same letter village. So A to A, B to B, and so on, right? This, it's a race. With all these bonus cards, it's a race. Whenever somebody makes a connection, they loudly and clearly announce to the table, hey, I just made the A to A connection. So I announce that to the table. If I'm the first one at the table to do it, I'm going to be able to score those bonus points, okay? So I would say, hey, I got 3 bonus points. I put that, you see the star on the card, the bonus cards, it goes in the little star section of your map down here, right? So I would say, hey, I got those 3 bonus points. I write it on my map. And then this card would get flipped over and it is off limits. Nobody else can score those bonus points. Okay? So that's one of those instances where if two people, sorry, I'm a little constrained on space here. I'm squeezing it out on the table here. So if two people got that bonus on the same turn, they would both score those bonus points. Okay? But then once it's been claimed, then it's flipped over, then it's off limits. And this is where if you're playing with more than 4 players, you would also have the second, the person who got second place, who got that bonus, the second quickest, is also going to get a chance to get fewer bonus points. So that's how the blue bonus cards work, okay? The first person to make the connection of the city to city. So maybe I got the E to E connection, or sorry, the D to D connection, but somebody else got it before me. So I didn't quite get those bonus points. So I won't score that. I just got the A to A connection first, okay? But let's talk about this one, okay? The red bonus cards. Again, this is one of those advanced variants, what it says in the rule book. But we've never played without this. I don't see why you wouldn't. With these bonus cards, and again, with 4 or fewer players, you just use one of these. With 5 or more, you'd use 2. And as you see that all the red cards just have some of those sites. They have pictures of the sites, okay, that we're trying to see. And what you're trying to do is just connect the site to the site. So you don't care about connections to villages. You just care about the sea monsters being connected to each other. So in this case, you see my sea monster here is connected to my sea monster there. So I would announce, hey, I got my 2 sea monsters connected. And if I'm the first one, I would say I get those 6 bonus points, right? Then this of course will be flipped over and it's off limits. So that's how the red bonus cards work. Okay, so then I would say I got 3 for the city connection and 6 for the red bonus. So I got 9 points in bonuses. So I'd put it down there and then I would add my score. So 9 and 9 is 18, plus 3 is 21 and 5 is 26, 20, 40, 60. So 66 would be my final score if this is what my map looked like at the end of the game. Okay? That's how it works. That's how you score. That's what you're trying to do. Again, twice through the deck. Okay? Twice through this terrain deck. Okay, I want to talk really briefly about this little bonus symbol that I mentioned earlier that I said I would come back to. Okay, I already talked about the fact that to score a site has to be connected to a village, right? So I just scored the obelisk, right? Now again, to score it the second time, I cannot just simply connect that same site to another village. That doesn't count for scoring it the second time. To score the second time, I have to connect the other instance of that same site to a village, something like that, for instance. When I've connected the second time, then I can say that I scored the second site, and I immediately get a bonus path. That picture means a bonus path. The little plus the picture. I can take 1 immediate bonus turn just for me, which I treat it as if I have a virtual wild and a wild. So I can write a path anywhere that I want on my island. It's just a one-time immediate bonus for connecting the second site. So I could do something like, hey, you know what? I'm going to try and get my sea monster visited. Okay? Maybe on a later turn, I was able to draw the forest to desert card, so I connected that. So hey, I saw my sea monster. All right, maybe later on, we got the maybe a water to a mountain, so I do a path there. And then we got a forest to forest, so I got a book. I got a book connected, right? Then maybe later on we got a desert to desert, and then a desert to a forest. Hey, I just connected my second book. So boom. Now I connected the second book because both books are connected to villages. So I immediately get that, and maybe you can check off that I took that bonus path earlier. Now I get the bonus path for connecting books. So I say, oh, you know what? A bonus path, I can do it right here. I can connect my sea monster. So now my sea monster got connected. Oh, so I took that bonus and I just got the second sea monster, which immediately gives me another bonus, right? So you can get a little chain reaction going. The bonus that I got with this made another connection, which gives me another bonus. So I can say, you know what? I'm gonna try and get my Yeti connected, right? So then I mark that I took that bonus, and so on, right? So that the little pathway picture, that means when you connect the second instance of a site, you get to immediately write 1 extra path anywhere that you want on your board. Okay, and that's just for you. And it's really rewarding when you can chain reaction, like, ooh, that bonus path made this connection, which gave me another bonus path, which connected this, and so on. Those turns are really fun. So now that you understand how it works, maybe I'll just play through one quick round to show you how it would all come together. So we say, first of all, we'll say forest to desert. Okay, maybe I'll do like I did in my example. I'll draw the forest to desert right there. Then next we go water to wild. Okay, maybe let's get this this sea monster connected down this way, right? Maybe I want to do something like that. Okay, then we go desert to wild. Ooh, desert to wild. How about we do that? Okay, then water to desert. Water to desert. How about we do connected over here? okay, to get the book and the toucan connected. All right, then we go mountain to forest. Mountain to forest. How about we do this, okay? Then we do mountain to mountain. All right, how about we get, maybe we'll try and get this Yeti connected over here, okay? Then we do desert to mountain. Desert to mountain. How about we go like this, okay? Then we do mountain to forest. Mountain to forest. How about, really good. Oh yeah, here we go, mountain to forest. So the Yeti got connected to village C. So we score the Yeti. All right, and we say forest to forest. Forest to forest. How about we try and get this book connected in, okay? Then we go mountain to desert. Mountain to desert. Oh, you know what? This is not quite working out. Let's try and get the Yeti. Mountain to desert. Then we do desert to desert. Okay, there we go. Desert to desert. Boom. So I just connected my obelisk and my sea monster. So my obelisk and my sea monster are all connected to village A. All right. Then I got water to forest. Water to forest. How about we do either one? I can connect either my book or my toucan. They're both worth 2 points, so it doesn't matter. So I'll just do that. Okay, so now my book is also connected to village. So I just score the book, and then I say forest to water. Oh, I can do the other side, forest to water. Now I got the toucan. That's nice. I got everything connected to village A, and then except for the Yeti connected over there to village C. Okay, and oh, there's one card left, so the round is over. Okay, so right now we would pause the game. We would add up. I scored each site once, so that's 1 and 2 is 3, and 2 is 5, and 3 is 8, and 4 is 12. So I got 12 points for seeing sites in round 1. I didn't make any city-to-city connections yet, all right? But then what we would do is we would grab this deck of cards, shuffle it all up, and get ready, and then play again a second round, and you get the gist, okay? Then again, I don't erase anything. So these 12 points that I scored already for this first round, I will score those same 12 points again, plus any new connections I make in this round too, right? And again, it's going to be a race for those city-to-city, connections for these blue city-to-city races, as well as, the red bonus card that we had drawn at the start of the game, trying to get the sea monsters connected to each other. So I'm going to be trying to make all those connections to get bonus points, as well as what I've already scored. So that's how it works. I just want to really briefly talk about some other options for playing. First and foremost, the demonstration I gave is on the front of the card, the Isla Petite, right? You see, as I mentioned, there's 2 of each site, and you play 2 rounds of the game. If you want to have a longer game, you play the other side, the Isla Grande side. And you see, there's 3 of every site, and there's chance to score sites for 3 rounds. So basically, you play 3 rounds. The game plays exactly the same, right? You just go through the deck until there's 1 card left, score the sites in round 1, score the sites again in round 2, and then score the sites in round 3, then get your city-to-city connections and so on, right? You play it the exact same way. The only difference is, of course, 3 rounds instead of 2, and also to get that free bonus path, it happens when you make the 3rd connection, not just the 2nd connection, right? But other than that, so this is basically just the longer version of the game versus the shorter version of the game, right? So you choose. Another advanced variant is using these red cards. Like I said, these red bonus cards, I gave the demonstration of how those work. Again, we never play without that. I don't see why you wouldn't include that. It also talks about you can randomize the startup, or the how you lay out the starting village cards. Instead of the mayor starting with village 1, the mayor could start somewhere else. And then again, it's just a different way to lay out, or it says maybe go counterclockwise of how with what was written on the setup card. Or you can also go where everybody has the exact same layout and all that kind of stuff. So again, it's just a way to vary the different starting village letters, or play the short or long game and use or don't use the advanced bonus cards. Other than that, the game's the same. Those are just a couple of ways to vary how you play. So that's Trails of Tucana. As you can see, it's so easy. Just flip over 2 cards and mark a little path and hopefully make those connections, to score, to see the sites, to connect the cities, and hopefully get some of those bonuses sooner than your competitors, right? And like I said at the very beginning, I don't think you need to limit yourself to 8 players. I mean, I think the limiting factor is the fact that there's only so many bonus cards to go around, right? But honestly, if you're okay with just a little bit, maybe steeper competition for the bonuses, you could totally play with more. I mean, at a minimum, you could play with 10, and you could still, because there's 10 different cities. So even with those setup cards, you could still have 10 unique setups. You know, with people having their different lettered cities in different locations. So you could easily go to at least 10 players. But honestly, you could play with more. We've played with really big groups, and honestly, with no issue, other than the fact that maybe the bonuses were a little harder to come by because there was more people competing for them. But if you don't mind that, if you're just interested in just getting a good competition and a good game for a huge group, this has worked really, really well for us. We've played it a ton. We've introduced it to a lot of people. It even has come out with an expansion that adds a couple of different maps and a couple of different advanced rules. That's super fun. I didn't talk about that in this video, but it's something that you can find if you're interested. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully this teaches you how to play and kind of helps you understand why we enjoy it so much. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Hopefully this has taught you the game well enough to sit down and play it yourself. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I'm Travis Amundsen, Once Upon a Board Game. Thanks for watching.